Hi, this is Robert Clinkybeard and David Anderson with the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes of your life to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners and provide you some value that you can take back to your business, your family, and your personal life and transform your life. We hope you really enjoy this. Cheers, everyone. Cool. So, good morning, everyone. This is the Commercial Landscapers Podcast. I have Elliot Hall on the recording today. So thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Robert.
Really appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about your background. You're now obviously out of Phoenix, Arizona, but tell me about how you got into the green industry and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry my whole life. My grandfather started this business. He moved here from Santa Barbara in '69, and he was a farmer by trade back in Santa Barbara. So when he came here, it seemed like the natural thing to do was kind of start a yard service in Central Phoenix. He was just a one truck operation, old school guy, worked through the Depression. So he kind of knew, just work hard, kind of the self-employed mindset of just getting work done, working every day. And, just growing up with him around me, he was a big inspiration to my work ethic and, who I am today. And yeah, I started working for him full time. In like 96, I was in my early 20s, just fresh off a divorce, and got right into the landscape space. I knew he wasn't going to do it forever. So I kind of just jumped on his, coattails and rode the business into, where I'm at today.
Cool. I mean, that's obviously if people, listeners don't know the Phoenix market, a pretty brutal business to be in with being outdoors. I mean, you just, before our conversation started, you were talking about over 50 days at 110 degrees and 100 plus days at over 100. So pretty tough environment to be jumping into that industry in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So what attracted you about going into that business?
You just growing up around it. It was always, it was always a way to make extra money in the weekends when I was really young. But what I really found that I love when I went to work full time with him was I just liked the transaction and to be able to make clients happy, to be able to just, deliver a service, be able to look people in the eye, make things right. And just that interaction of being there for the customer, knowing that, in any contractor space, what I find is just a lot of people with no callbacks, they weren't providing the service beyond just their work. If they're on site, it's great, but contractors today, even still, not even just in our industry, just any industry in general, running a business is obviously more challenging than just knowing your trade or your skill.
Yeah, that's true. So, you're primarily in the residential side of the business. I mean, what's your passion? I mean, is it more the maintenance, more the installation part? What's your sort of preference or your passion?
I like, I've been doing this for so long now, and we talked a little bit earlier about an organization, entrepreneurs organization we're both in. I went through their Accelerator program, and for a long time I was just chasing money wherever it was at. And what I found is that I really loved to be able to deliver a brand promise and deliver a scalable service that I could deliver with a guarantee. And that's really where I feel like we thrive, and it's actually fun to do. It's fun to grow. It's fun to be able to say, guarantee we're going to make you happy, give you a price over the phone based off lot size, and just being able to be responsive to people real quick. So that we really focus what we like doing is the maintenance aspect of it. We focus on properties that are under a third of an acre, and we can just, take as many calls as we humanly possibly can for more leads every day.
That's good. So it sounds though you've really learned a lot from being part of that program, and I suppose helped you get a little bit more focused. Well, tell me about the importance of being around like-minded business people not necessarily in our industry, because I certainly found value, but I just love to hear it from your perspective.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. I was introduced to EO in 2014, and up to that point, I had friends that were self-employed, but not true business owners, and just being around a community of true entrepreneurs, true risk takers, people that have the same similar problems that I had with, making sure I'd make payroll, dealing with HR issues, dealing with marketing, concerns, problems, just any typical problem when it comes to scaling. And it's just nice to have that community to bounce ideas off of. And just, I've always been a guy that I don't want to be the first guy to figure something out. I'm always the guy that sees somebody else doing it, and I'm like, I can do that. And, and it doesn't have to be in my industry. It's sometimes you see another space that maybe the way that they do collections, you're like, that's so obvious. I could totally, do that for my business. Doesn't matter that, they sell whatever they sell.
Right. Yeah, because I think I found that, the landscape associations out there, whether it be Arizona one or whether it be the national one, they're really good at providing the training with the technical part, but they don't necessarily have the experience or the know-how with some of the, whether it be software, just with other processes, other experiences there. So there was definitely a gap there.
Yeah.
So that's where I found being around other, whether it be a plumbing company, whether it be a marketing company, just to bring that knowledge in was tremendous.
Yeah, 100%. And really what EO, in the beginning with Accelerator, was more tactical items and goal setting and having to answer to somebody, because entrepreneur, we don't really answer to anybody, but the Accelerator programs really, they hold your feet to the fire more. And now that I'm in EO, it's more, I feel like it's almost therapy. It's almost like deep personal development of understanding what gets in our own way is just people.
Well, that, but also I think I found that, people think, oh, I've just got these basic problems, I can just go home and I'll just switch things off. But, it affects their family life, it affects their personal life. So all those things will affect you in your business. So, just as you say, it comes back to that therapy, but you're not necessarily part of, you don't feel as though you're on an island by yourself.
Yeah.
You're surrounded by like-minded people.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So, I being part of the Accelerator program and knowing that, scaling up is a big part of that. Do you have your one-page plan? You have your BHAG in place? You have all these accountability parts?
Yes, absolutely. Always looking for our quarterly rocks that we want to work on. I use a little bit of scaling up and some of the other program, the EOS program.
EOS traction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in, 5-10 years?
So, for a long time, I just, I always just would pick these crazy BHAGs to try to build up. And where I find myself is just wanting to be in my own personal growth space. And my business is part of that journey. Of course, I've got my crazy, BHAG. I'd love to be at 1,000 maintenance clients, and of course I have a great bigger, much bigger one that I was shooting for. And part of my journey's been to kind of discover what I really want to do. I do a lot of video content. I'm just kind of learning as I go. I realize there's so much more to know besides, running a business, but even in my own space, I'm learning more now that I'm getting connected with more entrepreneurs and other niche aspects of the industry, especially here in Arizona where the climate is it's crazy here. So I'm on this kind of personal journey of myself, kind of figuring out what I want to do, protecting my time, protecting my energy, only saying yes to the right things, saying no to a lot more, where before I wasn't, right. And just kind of seeing where I end up. I don't have the exact answer right now. That's the truth.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's actually not a bad thing. I mean, here we are in October 2020, we've had a pretty challenging year with the pandemic. And,
Yeah.
one of the things I've been encouraging people to be is be nimble, because nobody really knows everybody's saying, oh, what's going to happen after the election or in 2021. Nobody really knows. So to have that nimble type attitude that you can pivot into either different sectors, markets, whatever the case may be. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I think Tim Ferriss said, it's healthy to be bored sometimes, because when you're in the weeds, you can't see what's going on big picture wise. And sometimes it's better to, instead of be working on all these tiny little dominoes in our business, it's better to kind of look back and see what big domino will just knock all these dominoes over, so that we're not focusing on all these little minutia things. And that's kind of the space that I try to protect.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So talk about our industry a little bit. I mean, you're involved in it locally. You probably have a sense of what's going on nationally. How do you see our industry as a whole in terms of either acquisitions going on or technology? What do you see out there? How do you view the future of our industry?
I like to look at technology as a disruption at every opportunity I can get. I mean, I have this little Roomba at my house that vacuums my floor, and I know it's only a matter of time before there's going to be a really effective, and they have them now. They have little, lawn mowers that will do, lawns here as in our Arizona desert climate. That doesn't solve the whole problem, because of course, when I go to Dallas, or even where you're at in the Carolinas, where it's wall to wall grass, everything's grass, and bushes is usually separate. Here in my space, we take care of the whole project, the whole picture, the trees, the bushes. And I made that a focus years ago. Actually, I was concerned about the future years ago here in Arizona with water. And I thought, maybe this was about 10 years ago, where I just thought, man, if they tell us we can't water lawns anymore, am I going to be out of a business? Right. And back then I started focusing on clients that didn't have grass. We offer a 4-week service to, residential homes that just want to keep the landscape maintained. So it's, not completely out of control with weeds, and bushes don't have to be trimmed all the time, but they don't want them to get out of control, kind of thing. So we started focusing on that years ago. So those two aspects, really, with technology, obviously with acquisitions, I hear it happens because we're a residual based business. I've heard with larger companies. I use this software that a lot of landscapers use in my space, and that guy's a big maintenance guy out of Dallas. He's got about 9,000 residential lawns under 12,000 feet. Yeah, huge.
What software do you use?
It's called Service Autopilot.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he built it for his company, and of course now that company's even larger than his landscape company. But he talks to us all the time in his space, where people were trying to buy him out because all these angel investors are I don't even know all that space, but I know that they're looking to build and acquire. I've heard it's happening in the pool industry. They want to build a $100 million a year pool service company across the country. So I'm sure as time rolls along, they'll figure out a way to do that. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on looking out for what the future is offering, and being able, like what you said, be nimble to be able to pivot and adapt to whatever changes come our way. I like that here in Arizona, we have sun 365 days a year. We're not dealing with the snow that other parts of the country deal with, which is nice. But we do have those other challenges where it was over 110 for over 50 days this year. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's brutal. Now, how do you see things when you look at technology, and then most of the companies I talk to in the construction world, their biggest challenge is labor.
Yeah.
You're just trying to find labor, legal labor.
Yep.
Whether you have, all the different programs out there that you verify, but how do you see the two of them sort of helping each other out?
Yeah, it's funny. I'm having problems right now with labor. So it comes and goes, ebbs and flows. What I found is we don't have as many challenges as a lot of my landscape colleagues, at least friends of mine that I stay connected to. I have a lot of landscapers in other parts of the valley that I'm connected to, because I'm always referring them. Like, we don't service the East Valley, so I refer a ton of work out there. And so we're always in communication about labor and our challenges. And, we have them. Like right now, we're in the middle of a little bit of a challenge. But for the most part, I find that it's something with our culture. It starts with our value. You probably see it here in the camera.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure,
awesome.
with the
Yeah,
podcast.
I love it. Yeah.
We really hire with those, and we really look for guys that are good fits. Now that works really well with a foreman position. But when it comes to labor, like we're down to like, hey, you're ready? Come tomorrow. Let's give you a working interview. We're at that level. It's getting so thin pickings, and we're just hoping to be able to onboard and train. And we're really just building the culture within our company. So we're getting people better at the landscape space, and trying to, make sure they have a driver's license. That's such a challenge, even in my space too, just getting labor that has a driver's license. We bonus for that. We'll give higher pay just for that, just so we can, with the mindset of training and onboarding for foreman positions, if they're a good fit for us culturally.
That's great. I mean, yeah, it's awesome you have your core values in place. And, one of the things I see happening is trying to keep them alive within your company. How do you keep, re-emphasize the core values, especially at that foreman, crew leader type level?
Our meetings, I bring it up a lot. We talk about things that are coming up, issues, and I always try to bring them back to our values. I also tell people, when I'm not around, you can't get a hold of the office, can't get a hold of me. Like, look at our values. I mean, I go, the values are the boss. I'm like, they're the boss of me. Like, if I'm not honoring them, I want to be called out on it, So, one of ours is demonstrate respect. This comes up a lot because we've had clients that have been disrespectful. And I express the importance of our values to our team, that I'll fire a client if they're being disrespectful to us. So I want them to understand just how important our values are, that I'm willing to, let money go over it. Right. Because at the end of the day, we're all here to make a living. We all have rent to pay. We all got to eat. I just want to make it as enjoyable as possible. We don't have really strict rules on when they arrive. If their crew foreman wants to start later, like, as long as he lets his labor know, they can show up here at 7 or 8. I don't care, as long as they get the job done. I'm real flexible on that. But one of our other values is just taking ownership. Just get it done. If you've got to deal with personal stuff at home, get started early, get your jobs done early, work with the office to rearrange some stuff. I just want people to know that they can take charge, and that I'm not going to micromanage them. And It's been really effective for us. At the end of the day, it's the results that matter.
Do you think that helps with attracting more employees, especially get referrals? That's great that you're flexible with your team. Surely that must help to attract other people into your company.
Yeah,
attitude.
It has in the past. I have some employees, some foremen that won't even let me hire. Like, they want to find their own people. They're like, no, don't. They'll be like, I have somebody in mind. I'm going to reach out to him and like, we'll give him a shot this week. I'll let you know how he does. I'm like, awesome. So yeah, we do that.
And more likely they're going to bring in the right people, because that you're going to be holding them accountable to the quality of work. So they're not going to bring in people that are not going to do a good job for you.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I always tell my team that, the labor's job is to make the foreman happy, and the foreman's job is to make the office happy, and the office is trying to, make me happy. So as long as we're all making our jobs easier, it should run smoothly.
Okay. Very cool. So for the people that maybe just started their business or just thinking about getting into it, what would be probably your three biggest takeaways, three big nuggets for somebody in those early stages of starting, say, a landscape company?
For me, early on when I was growing, tracking sales, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly's great, but I always feel like once, I'd get my P&L and I'm always like, oh, that was awesome. It's a history of last month. That it's not helpful now. So I'm a real big believer, especially early on, even tracking daily, just bringing what your sales are. So you have a goal to hit every day, and you have an expectation. If you're just out there working and you're not really paying attention, that could be something that you overlook. See another nugget. Saying no is important to a lot. I'm learning that more and more even today. Just not biting off more than you can chew, only committing. I have one of my values is, and it goes along with, taking ownership and keeping promises, is I don't commit to things that I can't follow through. And I think I see this a lot in just contractors in general, where they make these promises and they can't deliver. And that's just one thing I never did that I thought that helped us grow. Because anytime, I was going to commit to something and get it done, I knew I could. It was kind of my brand promise. I just knew I could deliver. And I hear so often that contractors don't follow through, don't call back, or if you rely on unreliable teammates that maybe aren't going to come through, it can be really challenging. So those two are probably really big. And then early on, I answered my phone. I mean, I know it was 20 years ago. I advertised in the phone book back then, but it hasn't changed. I mean, now it's all online on the internet, but even till this day, I have an answering service. So if my team can't answer the phone, I have a backup where somebody's always picking up the phone. I just hate spending money on marketing and then it goes to voicemail. That's just pointless to me.
Yeah, I agree. No, that's great. 3 big takeaways there. So if somebody wanted to contact you and just learn more about you, your company, they're maybe at early stages, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
They can hit me up on social media or even send me an email. But I'm all over Instagram right now, and I'm trying to grow that. And I have a pretty good YouTube following. My Instagram handle, it's Instagram at AZ Lawns, and then my YouTube handle is at AMS Landscaping. So YouTube /AMS Landscaping. But if they just want to send me a message, just Eli at AZ Lawns, and I could love to help.
Awesome. Well, Eli, really appreciate your time today. You've been a great help. I really wish you the best in the future. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks again, Robert.
Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant for you today and you got some great takeaways for your business or your personal life. This is Robert Clinkybeard along with David Anderson, and we'd love to get you and your friends to join us in our future journey. So please subscribe through our website, commerciallandscapers.com, or through the various podcast channels out there. But anyway, hopefully you have an awesome day. Cheers.